Welcome to our podcast, When Life Gives You Lemons. I'm Kevin.
And I'm Palmy. We consider ourselves disability advocates and intend to spotlight some disability issues and things we find interesting that we frequently encounter when we're out and about. Also, some history on disability that we find interesting.
Oh, hello, everybody. Welcome back to our podcast, Life Gives You Lemons. I'm Kevin.
And I'm Palmy.
And today we're talking about multiple sclerosis, also known as MS.
Immune disorder.
There are several different variants that we'll get into later on.
Okay, let's describe what MS is. It is a chronic autoimmune disease that affects the general nervous system, disrupting communications between the brain and the body. It can lead to wide ranges of symptoms and vary greatly from person to person. Let's go over some of the overall details.
Okay, MS occurs basically when the immune system mistakenly attacks the myelin sheath, which is the sheath that surrounds the nerves in your body.
Nerve fibers in the body, yeah.
Right.
That also is the part of your spinal cord, your optical nerves in your eyes.
All your nerves are basically surrounded by that sheath for them to conduct a chemical electrical reaction from where the nerve end is or the sense is to the brain. So it goes first into your spinal column, then up your spinal column to your brain.
And it leads to physical and cognitive symptoms. The most common symptoms are fatigue, muscle weakness or spasms, numbness and tingling, usually in the limbs, vision problems, hence we just said it happens in the optic nerve, near the optic nerve, causing blurriness and double vision, difficulties with coordination and balance, cognitive changes, including memory issues and trouble concentrating. I'm going to take a break right here. And when Kevin first came down with his illness, we've told you in the past that it took like 3 years to figure out what his diagnosis was, and that was the first diagnosis you got was MS.
Yeah, the movement disorder neurologist that I had, who was a brand new hire there, basically said, well, this has to be some sort of MS that doesn't have brain lesions.
Right. Well, he said he thought we caught it early. It was prior to seeing the brain lesions, because that's typically what happens. And that's the diagnosis is they see brain lesions on the brain in an MRI. And so they were waiting to see the brain lesions.
Yeah, the only problem with that theory is that the lesions are basically the attack on the nerve sheath instead of attacking nerves specifically in your arm or your leg. It's gone to attacked your spinal column, your sheath, and gone all the way up to your brain where there is no sheath.
Right.
So that's where the lesions come from. It kind of, the same destructive force are unleashing on that nerve sheath. They're unleashing on your brain. Therefore, your brain gets lesions on it.
Right. And so you were actually treated for 3 years with MS, the medicine they would treat you for MS.
Yes.
Yeah. And hence it did not help.
Okay, and before we dive back into MS, I'm going to tell you a story about a meme.
Okay.
Hey, I saw a meme, and it was, we all make fun of ourselves or what's wrong with us. And that was the case with this. It wasn't somebody poking fun at this disease. It was somebody who had this disease kind of sarcastically making light of the problems they had that nobody else understands. And it was the meme I told you about. I may have shared it on the Facebook group. I don't recall it because it's been a while. But the meme basically it says, so you want to clean your refrigerator. Well, that's going to eat up your whole day because you spend half a day cleaning your refrigerator and half a day resting up after you clean your refrigerator. Or you're going to go for a walk one day. Well, it's a 2-day event because you're going to walk one day, the next day you're going to have to rest up from having taken that walk. MS is so tiring. It
Fatigue.
just makes everything you do require like twice the amount of energy
Yeah.
normally it takes you. So it's not uncommon for people with MS to constantly battle having to take naps.
And rest up from what they previously
Rest up
did.
from what you would assume is a
Normal
thing.
activity.
But that ain't the case here because I kind of played nap roulette. You know, if I take a nap, I don't know when I'm waking back up again. It's probably going to be the next day or the day after or whatever. It's like, I'm not good after an hour of sleep. It's like, if I have a set time limit, I'll just sit there and worry about getting to sleep early, not wasting my hour or so I've allotted for this nap. It just doesn't work for me. It's like I can't switch my brain off, kind of. But anyway, now let's get back into MS.
Okay. So we're at causes and risk factors. And it's your turn.
Okay, the exact cause is unknown, but genetics. Okay, I'm trying to read ahead. Genetics, environmental factors, and viral infections may play a role. What they mean by that is it can be any of those or a combination of those. MS is more common in women and typically begins between the ages 28 and 40.
And the diagnosis is determined through a combination of neurological exams, MRI scans, and sometimes a spinal fluid analysis. Doctors look for the lesions in the central nervous system to rule out other conditions, and rules out other conditions. That's what we were talking about before. So, and then we're on to treatment options.
Yeah, there's no cure, but basically what they do is they treat the symptoms. So they help you manage all the stuff that goes along with it. And it's got a relatively slow progression. Steroids can be used during therapy. Disease-modifying therapies, or DMTs, can reduce flare-ups and delay disability. I think we talked about in the ALS how vital physical therapy can be.
Right. I think that's anywhere. Even in your case, it was very helpful.
Yep.
Because they, as we all know, 3 famous words: don't use it, lose it.
Use it or lose it.
There you go. And you also have to learn how to use your new body through the physical therapy and life changes and the symptoms, and learn how to use your medication. Like you said, a lot of your medication basically puts you to sleep. So you need to manage those naps so that you have a constructive life. That was half the battle, learning how to manage your life around those naps that you have to take.
Avoiding the easy fix of like self-medicating with a lot of caffeinated beverages.
Yeah, that doesn't really help. Yeah.
In the long run, that doesn't help.
Yeah. Types of MS. There's a relapsing-remitting MS. It's most common, involves flare-ups followed by recovery. The secondary progression MS, which is SPMS, is gradually worsening after initial relapsing, and primary progressive MS, which is a steady progression throughout without distinctive relapses.
I don't know about how this relates to medicine in general. I always thought that, like, if you're a physician and discovered a disease, they named it after you.
Not always, but yeah, I see what you're saying.
But it seems to me a lot of times we talk about neurological conditions, especially that have kind of like subcondition or subtypes, they prefer to use acronyms.
Right.
So I know there are some that I know by name, different types of MS. They're probably more directly put into the categories that we just described for you. I'm not trying to take away anything from people that are living with a certain type of MS and they're not reading material that I read off the internet. That's not what we're trying to do with all these is just bring attention to in this case, disease and what you're dealing with. It's always great to have, as Pomby pointed out earlier, interviews where we can talk to somebody who actually deals with either as a caretaker or a parent or a sufferer of the disease. We can get kind of like firsthand into it. Whereas, somebody who's not going to say, okay, skipped over a big part of this or that or the other thing. If they're up on MS, they probably have a better idea of what I do. I've read anything about my own disease for several years, so I'm not sure about that, but I know it seems to be like you can talk about different forms of the disease. It used to be named after a physician, and then they're covered under subcategories or types, like these types of MS, RRMS, etc. Okay, we're back to my part, right?
Yep, living with MS.
Many people with MS lead active and fulfilling lives. Support from their healthcare providers, their family, MS support groups, and MS organizations is crucial. Advances in research continue to improve treatment and understanding of the disease. And I'm going to go on a limb here and I say if you have like some other neuromuscular condition, if they come up with something for one, it's going to benefit others. If nothing else, they have a better idea of what medications can be used to treat symptoms that are common to others. Okay, dear.
Well, as they learn more about the brain and that stuff, it helps every disease. So we're on the page that says if you're more curious about the specific types. Are you on that page?
Yes.
Okay. So there are there are four main types of we talked about there are four main types of multiple sclerosis, MS. Each type reflects a different pattern of disease progression and symptom behavior. Here's a breakdown of those.
Okay, number one, they're talking about clinically isolated syndrome, or CIS. It's the first episode of MS-like symptoms, and it lasts for at least 24 hours. So basically, I think they're saying in a clinical environment, everybody goes through this. It's caused by inflammation or elimination in the central nervous system. It's not officially MS unless the additional episodes or MRI evidence confirm it. Common symptoms: vision problems, bladder issues, and balance difficulties.
So number two is relapsing-remitting MS. The RRMS is most common form. It's accounting for about 85% of the initial diagnosis and characterized by clearly defined relapses, flare-ups followed by periods of remission. Symptoms may completely or partially disappear during remission.
And then comes secondary progressive MS, SPMS, often developed from RRMS over time. It's marked by progressive worsening of neurological function with or without relapses, and the disability tends to accumulate gradually.
And fourth is the primary progressive MS, which is the PPMS, affects about 10 to 15 people of MS, characterized by steady progression of symptoms from onset without early relapse or remissions, typically diagnosed later in life and may lead to more rapid disability.
Okay, before we go on, I want to say you misspoke. Not 10 to 15 people, it's 10 to 15%.
Oh, I'm sorry, did I say people?
Yes, you
10
did.
to 15% of people with MS.
It's okay. I just didn't want to alarm anybody that those numbers seem exceptionally low. 10 to 15 people in the world.
Yeah.
Okay. Radiologically isolated syndrome, or RIS, not considered an MS type but part of the MS spectrum. People show MS-like lesions on MRI without symptoms, may or may not progress to clinical MS. Again, like I said, it can't be the doctors had it backwards initially with me. You have to have the lesions before it progresses, or it may not progress at all, because lesions are what indicate something is not working right in the brain. Otherwise, you may have nerve issues elsewhere isolated to a certain area.
I think they were just thinking the MRI was not a good MRI is what they were thinking when they, I don't know what they were thinking, but understanding your MS type helps guide treatment decisions and predicts disease progression. If you'd like to explore more of this treatment options or see how each type affects daily life, you can search. There's quite a bit of data that we did find on this, and definitely the sources was out there. The MS Association, was it?
MS Association. I think there's actually one citation.
National MS Society. That's what it was.
There's one citation from the Cleveland Clinic, which is well known for their research. And again, I'm going to cite Stanford University because they do studies for rare diseases. Some of those are neuromuscular in nature and share some of these symptoms with MS, with ALS, with anything basically that can be described as neuromuscular. It just basically, and what's not mentioned here, but Bonnie went over the understanding of your MS type. If there is a genetic factor that may be behind your MS, something that's not listed is it's important to incorporate your family planning accordingly.
Right. Yeah, makes sense.
People want to make sure that their children's lives are going to be worth the squeeze. They're not going to set their child up for a disabled life like they have.
Right.
Some people are okay with it because they have milder, and I don't know how genes or tied into how severe your MS can be. So
Right.
it's something to talk about with your doctor, I imagine. Multiple sclerosis affects approximately 36% of the global population, or roughly 36 out of 100,000 people. In the United States, the prevalence is significantly higher. And that probably goes along with, the political movement, which is Baja, Make America Healthy Again. Find out why we are higher than the rest of the world.
Yeah, that's 1 in 330 people. So that's 3% of the population of the United States.
Yeah, it's definitely, the odds are higher here.
Yeah.
And
is it
it's not just for MS,
environmental?
Is
it
things.
Something we're eating?
Yeah, nobody knows the answers to these questions.
Right. Globally, worldwide, about 2.9 million people are living with MS. It varies by the region, but globally, the average is roughly 36 per 100,000 people. Versus, and it mostly it occurs to women, and it's normally between the ages of, we said earlier 30 to 40, but they're saying 20 to 50 here.
Obviously, because it came from a different search.
Yeah.
Okay, estimate cases. Okay, this is just the U.S. There's roughly 1 million Americans that have MS. The prevalent rate is about 300 per 100,000 people, or 0.3 of the population.
Now, there was an article that you have listed here that said the reason for that our number is higher in the United States is because we have better diagnostic tools, which increases the awareness and possibility of environmental and lifestyle factors might have a possibility of impacting that.
It could very well be.
Yeah.
A lot of that, I'm sure, is because we have a lot of educational opportunities for medical professionals here in the U.S., and some of those choose to stay here in the U.S. So all the doctors we're training from around the world do not always go back to, say,
whatever country
Zambia or India, or some of them stay here. I'm not sure about the percentages there. But again, we have differences in insurances, healthcare access. What else can differ? Environmental conditions or a
Awareness.
lack of it around the world. Awareness.
People may be having this condition and just not diagnosing it.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so I love the fact that you do a lot of our research and everything, but I am stumped here. In your research paper, you have a historical definition of butt load. You're going to have to read me through on this. What does that have to do with...
I'll read it to you exactly, dear, but...
does this have anything to do with MS?
Not exactly. A lot of episodes where we're reading out facts and figures so casually. It's kind of a downer.
Yeah, we're talking about disease.
So I'm trying to get, I realize it's a disease, and I don't want to make jokes about the disease. So I thought I'd come up with something a bit lighter that we can laugh at and people don't feel like we're laughing at the disease.
Oh, okay.
So I just came up with a little bit of trivia. In the American language, I don't know how well this translates into other languages or even other English-speaking languages like Australian or British. Buttload is common that we picked up from our former colonial overlords, the British, as we did with our standard measurements. We just have refused to go boldly forth into the metric world, and well, thankfully we kind of left buttload behind. But buttload is actually a unit of measure.
Is it really?
It is, because most Americans don't know that. They just say, hey, you've got a buttload of bread here or a buttload of fireworks. You bought a buttload of milk. And they're like...
We all know it's a lot. It's a lot.
It's a lot, yeah. But
it means a lot.
Actually, it means a specific amount.
Really?
126 gallons comprises a buttload.
Or you have here, it's 2 hogsheads.
2 hogsheads, so it's 120, 62.5 gallons of equals a butthead.
Or 2 hogsheads.
2 hogshead equals a hoghead. And then 2 hogsheads equal a buttload.
and 108 imperial gallons, which would be the metric UK load, right?
Before the UK ventured forth, polated the metric system, they said, we got to get away from the Yanks unit of measure that we so conveniently made them use. So we're going to use this other imperial standard. We know they won't use something called an imperial standard. Yeah, for a while, for a few years, we had some bad blood with the British, and I'm sure that was the entire driving force
of getting rid of the butthead or buttload.
Well, Americans said, we'll stick with gallons. We have like 55-gallon drums, and the word buttload has existed now
as a slang, not a
slang for
a lot.
Whole heaping.
I don't know that we know what it actually equaled.
There's a lot of things in the English language we don't know why we started using it, or whether or not it actually means anything. In this case, yes, it does. Got it from our British colonizers, if you will.
Okay, well, that's the end of our episode. That was a whole lot of buttload of information.
Yeah, it was a buttload of stuff about MS, a little bit about trivia. And we hope to see you guys again next season. As a reminder, this is the last episode for this season.
So have a happy Turkey Day.
3. Have a happy Turkey Day, and we'll see you again in February.
And Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. I got them all in.
All those good things.
Happy Valentine's Day.
And for those of us, you that were kind of curious about our end of year giveaway, absolutely no one entered, so absolutely no one won.
There you go.
Enough said about that. We'd love to hear from you in the future via email or fan mail, whichever you prefer. And no, we don't have advertisements. We don't have sponsor breaks. And no, we don't have email marketing concerns. If you're worried about emailing us, that shouldn't be one of your concerns. We look forward to hearing from you, and we'll see you again next season.
Bye now.
Bye, everybody. Till next episode, take those lemons and make your own lemonade.